Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. And we are looking at NBA player props here for Monday. We've got 9 games on the slate here, so we're going to be going through those player props in this episode. Got best bets up in a separate one, so make sure to subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along and don't miss any of these content that we are bringing you guys. And don't miss out the deal that we have with BetMGM right now. That is back for a limited time. If you don't yet have an account with BetMGM Sportsbook, go ahead and sign up using the code THELINESYT50. Get yourself up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet fails to hit, and you get $50 in bonus bets regardless as well. So a nice little deal there for you guys. If you don't yet have a BetMGM account, definitely jump in there and use that code. Get yourself some free money. Nate, let's go ahead and get right into your first play-up prop here. I believe Cade Cunningham is out again, correct?
Yeah, he's doubtful. It looks like Jaden Ivey will get a chance here again. I mean, JB Bickerstaff again. Just like not playing the guys, trying to send a message, I think. But if you didn't like Ivey's effort against Orlando, I think he'll be fine in this matchup. Let me get to the prop first of all. I looked at all his stuff, and I think what I like most is even money at 2 threes, over 1.5 threes. We can go 25.5 points and assists here. I don't know if I trust him to be a volume scorer with the attention he might get here, but like I said, against Orlando, limited to 28 minutes, but in those 28 minutes, 35% usage, hits 2 threes, gets 19 points. This obviously a much tougher defense than the back-to-back Raptors, the Backterps on the road. Just a horrible defense on the road. They have not brought it all season. 26th in defensive rating and assist to turnover ratio, allowing 3 more assists, 3 more threes, 8 more 3-point attempts. So I like Ivey spraying it out to Beasley or Hardaway, getting some assists that way, but also getting the ball back. He was benched at times for Marcus Sasser in that last game against Orlando. Orlando is a team that will force you to kind of get off your priors as a coach and adjust. And for whatever reason, Sasser's out there. Maybe Sasser plays a little more. Ivey gets to go off ball and hoist some threes, but either way, I think the ball finds its way back to him. He's attempting 7.6 per game from deep in his last 6 without Cade, going back to last season now. Gone 2+ makes in 5 of those games, the exception being when he went 1 for 6 against Houston. Obviously, the potential assists, the passes are going to go up as well. But, looking at the shooting stuff, he just has some weird reverse home road splits this season. 27% at home versus 42% from deep. But he's playing more minutes at home. He's going to see more usage without Cade. Cade was just a usage monster this season. Last season, Ivey was closer, 32% at home, 35% on the road. And 32% is good enough, right? If you're taking 7.5 attempts, do the math, you're going to hit 2 of them as long as you're around 33%. So I think the volume of attempts here against just a really bad defense that just isn't going to bring much effort in Detroit makes me like Ivey to connect on a couple of these. And I wouldn't hate, taking any of his other props here, including the assists or the points.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I didn't really have anything to be able to play for this game. At least that was mostly probably because props weren't up, but I don't know what to say other than if he plays, he should shoot 6 to 7 threes. He should do that whether Cade's in or not, to be honest. It doesn't make sense that he's being stifled. I like Marcus Sasser's game. He's not an off-ball guy you want playing alongside Cade nearly as much as a guy like Jaden Ivey. It makes no sense. I guess your attitude has to really suck if 2 straight coaches come in and they're like, we can't deal with you. I haven't seen it from body language or anything, but at any rate, let me go to my first bet here. We got Jalen Brunson. Talked about he and the Nuggets and this Knicks game as well in the best bets. But there's two ways to play this. I like his assists, and I like his assists moving forward for a couple of reasons. But it's 6.5 if you want to drink the juice, but it's going down. And I think people realize that 7.5 seemed a bit high for him. I was okay with 7.5 for plus money. It was plus 116 for over 7.5. So maybe you split the unit, however you want to handle it. I think both are okay for the value based on the odds that you're getting. But I mean, 6.5 would be lovely. I think he's really good for 7. He's averaging 14 potential assists in his last 13 games. And that's what I'm basing this bet on, is the difference in JB this year and last year. I think there's a clear-cut difference with Cat out there. I mean, the potential assists tell the story this season, up to about 14 per game in his last 13. Last season didn't really scratch 12 very often in terms of the potentials. And this season as well, like, it started out not great. The first 3 games were beyond ugly on offense, other than just walloping the Pacers, I believe it was, and just sort of paying it forward. The smackdown that the Celtics laid on them, they forwarded it to the Pacers, and then other than that, just didn't really look good on offense for a few games in a row. In the last 13, it's coming back together. He's gone over in 9 of those games. He's at 8 assists per game, up to those 14 potentials. And in this one with Denver, like, they've actually been really good on the ball handler in terms of limiting his points, right? They are 4th best at limiting points from the pick and roll play from the ball handler. They are 5th limiting free throws. Pretty important for JB's points to get both of those things. That's how he'd be doing it, right? Those are the 2 plays: is get into the paint and either draw a foul or make a little fadeaway, or just go all the way to the bucket, or step back with that 3. Well, I think the dimes are just going to be something that he's looking forward to a lot more. And I'm finally convinced. I'm not really trying to go under on his dimes anymore. And I think 28 points is not going to be the sort of closing line that we see throughout the majority of this season for the man. I think it's too high right now versus Denver, like I said, who is put a lot of emphasis on the point of attack, and putting guys like Christian Braun on, and even Peyton Watson might even do a little bit of work on Jalen Brunson in this one as well. You're not going to put Jamal Murray on him. That's for damn sure. So that means you're going to have an actual good defensive player that's guarding Jalen Brunson in this game. I do like that to lead to a few more assists for him, especially if Cat plays and has any kind of turnaround from his 1 for 9 3-point shooting against the Jazz last game.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan of Brunson's stats here, and just being kind of a heliocentric piece of the offense. Whether Cat plays or not, it's just how you exploit Denver right now. You got to put Jokic in pick and roll, got to tire him out, and he's had success against Denver the last couple seasons with Aaron Gordon out there, and now no Aaron Gordon. It's much more exploitable. So with it, I'm going to go under Steph Curry, 36.5 points, rebounds, assists. I think this has been going up a little bit. Like, the juice is still minus 120, but I'm surprised to see 11.5 rebounds and assists attached to his points prop. Like, he's just not going to have the minutes to get there consistently if this game goes to form. The Dubs are minus 13 against a Nets team that's on a back-to-back on the road, and is starting to kind of regress back to what we expected this season, which is, a bottom 5 team for the Eastern Conference. And obviously a huge gap in the conferences there. Steph, in 4 games against the East this year, he had a big game against Boston. I'm just going to throw that out. And then the other 3, 19.7, 2.7 rebound, and 5.3 assists, played just 26 minutes a game. So they're just like, we don't need you. I mean, one of them, they got blown out by Cleveland, but they're not competitive either way at times. His 4 home games this year, he went nuts in the Klay Thompson game, where they were just on 50, right? Absolutely ready for that game. The other 3 at home played just 27.5 minutes, 18 points per game, and the peripherals are right around 11. But I don't think it's that consistent against a Nets team that's not playing fast. 92 pace their last 4 roadies. They're 3-0 to the under on back-to-back. So, are they even going to get to 100 and make this at all respectable? Maybe not. You could take the under on this and the Dubs to cover an adjusted spread and get plus money pretty easily as just the correlation here, because the Dubs go deep, right? I mean, they're going to play Steph under 30 minutes as long as they can. They're going to look ahead to the rest of their schedule, which on Wednesday they have OKC. Then they have the Suns, the Nuggets, the Rockets, the Wolves twice. That is the gauntlet. That is the Western Conference. And right now you have the freaking Nets coming to town with a rest advantage. You don't need Steph to go wild in this one.
You don't. But I will hear a slight bit more respect on the name of the Brooklyn Nets. Just a slight bit. Let me just get a little bit. If they were in the Western Conference, whatever. But the East, right?
Dennis Schroeder has done a good individual job on Steph. So on top of the fact that they could get blown out, he could do a pretty good job.
Remember when the Lakers went from a championship team that had one of the best 3-point defenses in the league to whatever they are have been since they let Dennis Schroeder and, and all those guys Caruso go. That was a filth, and Schroeder was always underrated as a defender in that on that team. It still is, in my opinion. There's a reason this Nets team is pretty good above the break, and it's like the third best like 3-point defense above the break. Well, where do you think Steph Curry's shooting from? I love this call, dude. I think you nailed it with Steph. You're 100% right. Obviously, I'm watching pretty much every Dubs game, and Steph, they're just pleading with Steve Kerr just wants the game to go exactly how he wants it to go, so Steph doesn't have to play 30. That's the goal. Every game is Steph no 30. Then they go up against OKC or Boston or whomever, and it's like, release the hounds, and then Steph comes running out, and he's just playing 35, 36 minutes. So you're right on with how this Warriors team is going to play him right now. Let me go to Denver. We've got a couple props here. So I'm going to take Jokic because he's awesome. And 27.5 points probably still ain't enough. And Jokic is like one of the only, I can't even think of another player where I genuinely like sort of ascertain whether or not he's going to care. I don't need to do that with too many other guys. I need to know what's your priority today, Mr. Jokic. And I mean, right now, today, and the last like 5-6 games that he's been playing, basically since he called the team out for having no shooting, that was the moment in time that you can sort of see as an anchor point for when since then he's taken as many shots as he damn well needs to and pleases. So I think for him to get 28, I think he's good for like a 30-point game tonight, something he's done in the last 4 and the last 5 of 6 for him. Now you say to yourself, New York's really good defense. They are 10th best limiting points to centers. They're number 1 limiting rebounds to centers. And I say poppycock. I don't care about the rebounds. I'm not putting them in there because I don't need, I think he's probably going to guard Cat because if Aaron Gordon was out there, he'd definitely be guarding Cat. And that's the biggest shitty thing for Denver in this one is that Ago is not out there to guard Cat because then they'd be in paradise. I truly believe it. They have to put Joker on him. That's fine. They'll put him on there. At least he won't get bullied down low, but it does mean the rebounds might not be as likely because Cat's taking like 8 threes a game. So you're going to see a lot of those threes go up. You got to get out there and guard it. It's a big reason why the centers aren't getting rebounds more than anything. And Cat's an awesome rebounder, but the points not worried about. And we could see for Jokic on offense, we were talking about this earlier. We could see OG. I believe that Tibbs is going to start OG on Jokic and have Cat free reigning and standing basically on the baseline to get boards off of that because Cat will be gone in the second quarter with 3 fouls if he's the primary and sole defender on Nikola Jokic, which I hope he is because then Jokic will just be just running circles right around him or putting him under the basket. But he will be putting OG under the basket, and I think that'll lead to some foul shots for him as well. I think double-digit foul shots is reasonable in this one. I was joking earlier, but I'm also serious. Like the only dude we've seen actually stop Jokic one-on-one in the last, I don't know, since he came into the league and became Nikola Jokic is Naz Reid in the playoffs last year. And he ain't on this team. Cat is not the guy that you're worried about. He was sort of the secondary defender, but either way, he's averaging 30 on the season. He's over in 4 straight, like I mentioned. And the key thing here and why I think he's motivated is like since he called them out, he scored and he's seen the wins pile up as a result of that. In wins, he's averaging 31 a game and has gone over 27.5 in 6 of those 8 games. And I don't really think a blowout is imminent. I know that you like the Nuggets, and I do think it's probably like 51, 52% should be the implied probability for the Nuggets winning this game is how I'm breaking it down and projecting it. But either way, like he's going to have his way with that Knicks defense, whether you think it's a good defense or not, which I think the jury is genuinely still out on that information right now with Cat as your starting center. But either way, they should be able to give up a ton of points to a guy taking like 25 shots in this game.
New baby bump. That's
baby.
that's the big thing, right? You gotta think outside the lines. I thought you were gonna say the other way that like Jokic is the one guy I don't need to worry about whether he's gonna get up for the game because like he's just so methodical,
Yeah.
right?
What I meant by that was actually whether he's going to be looking to score or not looking to score. That's more specifically what I meant. Yeah.
I just see him as a basketball computer who's just like, okay, I have food now. Jericho Sims is a delicious meal. I'm gonna just eat
Jericho Sims.
No, yeah, he's just gonna make the right play every single time, up and down the floor. But the new baby bump maybe is a crack in his hard exterior as far as what we understand, and he's out there getting buckets recently. I mean, it's what he has to do for this shorthanded Nuggets squad, as we know. And yeah, is the Knicks defense good? I would say no, especially when they're in the middle of a West Coast road trip, playing back-to-back games at elevation and going to be pretty tired and might not have a center other than said Jericho Sims, which could be a real problem against Jokic. So yeah, I think ladder opportunity here for 30 plus for plus money. For 30 and 10, I think he gets 10 rebounds in his sleep. I
Yeah.
don't care what the Knicks do to limit rebounds. Like I think this is a smash spot for Joker.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some people who supersede stats. That would be Nikola Jokic. Not really worried about how the other team defends centers. How do they defend the best one? And we'll see in this one. I don't think it's going to be well. So that's the time we have for you in Play Up Props, though. Continue to follow along and subscribe to that page. Also got play best bets up in the other episode, and continue to roll along with the NFL. So don't want to miss any of that stuff. And until we see you next, happy betting.